it was entertaining. A lot of you guys have seen Graham Mertz kind of throw the ball around a lot. There's 3 guys that I've ever seen really throw the ball, and I always use the term, they throw a football around like I throw a tic-tac around. I mean, it's just slinging out of their hands, and it's just amazing to watch those guys in action. You know, we had a couple other guys you might know of, Jafar Armstrong, who's at Notre Dame, who shows up as a wide receiver, but legitimate wide receivers in Kansas City are far and few between. He goes to Notre Dame, and next thing you know, he's a running back / halfback / slash right / let's get him the ball and let's see what this guy can do because he's a playmaker. Right. Same thing with Isaiah Simmons. He was the same way. He's at Clemson.
Yep.
Same deal. Get the ball in his hands.
My first year, Isaiah Simmons, my first year at East, he was a senior at Olathe North.
Yeah.
And we played them in a quarterfinal matchup. And that is, in a game situation, that's the best performance I've ever seen from a high school kid. I mean, just they threw him the ball in this little bubble screen, and he went 60 yards. And I thought our safety had a line on him, and I thought, oh, man, he's going to have a chance to make a good tackle here. And Simmons just hit another gear. It was unbelievable.
It's almost effortless.
Yeah.
You watch him, and we see this a lot with some of these kids. Armstrong's another one of those kids that takes off with these long strides, and you think they're going to get caught, and they're just gone.
Yeah.
They're just gone. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Some of the other MVPs that we had, Cale Garrett out of Kearney. He has been to almost every single combine that he could qualify for. Mm-hmm. He went to the national combine. Not the well-known kid, but he's always had a nose for the football.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know if you know the whole story. He was going to Navy, and at the last minute, Andy came in from Missouri and said, no, we really want you. And that was his dream school.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, Mom was furious because they had been down there 5 or 6 times. That's what he wanted to do, was be a Missouri Tiger since he was a little kid. And they dilly-dallied around, and she was mad.
Yeah.
Plus she's a diehard KU person, too, which doesn't help.
That probably didn't help that.
But it was one of those deals that was last minute, and we talked to Andy several times, and I'm like, Hill, you got it. This guy's in every single play. Well, he's not fast enough. Let me tell you something. There's no test for the kid's heart.
No.
I don't care. You said it earlier. There's some kids that are 6'4", but the other kids that are 6'2" is going to outwork him all day long.
Yeah.
It's what he has in his heart. This is why you run the combine. So you start running these individual drills, you'll see who the worker is.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll want that guy. What did Cale do? He told me he was going to redshirt him. He wasn't going to play. His freshman year, he's an all-freshman SEC player from Mizzou. Made the all-SEC freshman team. He's got a chance to break the tackle record for Mizzou.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a good solid player up there.
Yeah, and it's just crazy when you start thinking about some of the numbers that they've got. Daniel Jackson was another MVP that we had through the years. And all these guys have gone down to the national combine.
Yeah.
Of course, Drew Lock was a U.S. Army All-American.
Yep.
Went down there and slung the ball around a little bit. Graham Mertz obviously went down there.
Yeah.
Broke the record. Five touchdowns.
He had a great day down there.
Yeah. On 6 or 7 passes, had 5 touchdowns. Something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he was putting the ball exactly where he needed to be, and you're dealing with all these 5-star athletes. You put it in that guy's hands, and he's gone.
Yeah.
He just takes off. So.
Yeah, that's a pretty good crop of kids then that has come through this and got an MVP.
And there's a lot of kids that come through. Like Drew is already committed to Mizzou when he shows up.
Yeah.
Isaiah was already committed to Clemson. Ryan Willis at that time was going to KU.
Yeah.
He's at Vol Tech now, and he's going to be the man at Vol Tech this year.
Yeah. He's going to get the star.
Those are the guys. Even though they're committed, those are the guys that want to compete It doesn't matter whether it's Sunday afternoon at Shawnee Mission East football field because they know there's 10 guys showing up, or there's a combine that they can get into and get some extra work in. Showcase yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it never hurts to keep those options open.
Right.
You know, especially now with the way the transfer rules is starting to get, and
right.
You know, it's a little easier to transfer now than it was even 10 years ago,
right.
5 years ago. But you know, so it's good. You know, you never know, a coach might see you and change schools, and you never know what happens when you get to that school. Maybe you know. You don't get the opportunity you thought you did, or
coaching change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, hey, I saw you at this combine a couple years ago. Yep. You know, would you like to come over here? And you know, one thing you mentioned about Missouri being really late on the kid from Kearney. You know, that's one thing that kind of drives me nuts. I feel like even Missouri and Kansas are just so slow on our kids, and we let so many kids get out of Kansas City and go other places. And, you know, that especially, I mean, Kansas football right now is pretty bad. And, I mean, there's been kids that I've coached against in the Sunflower League that I'm like, I know they could play at Kansas because I'm watching what you guys are putting out, and the kids going to, a 1AA school or an FBS school now, they're called. But, I mean, that just drives me nuts.
Well, and there was a couple of years there that they didn't fill out their whole scholarships.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
You're only giving out 70 scholarships. And granted, I don't want Kansas to pull out a kid who doesn't belong.
Yeah.
But go after the kids that do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even if you don't think that you have that shot, you still got to go do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Dante Manning, right? I mean, he's on fire right now. I mean, he is, top shelf. I don't even know if KU's even offered him. But those are the guys, KU, Mizzou, K-State, you should be the first ones in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree.
They're in your backyard. I mean, we're, 30 minutes from KU's campus.
How do you not offer kids?
I mean, we had Milton Brosh,
yeah.
That came through here. And,
yep.
He's up at Colgate now and doing a great job. And, KU, it's like, what are you doing? I mean, tell me this kid can't play over there?
Right, right.
But yeah, it's one thing that kind of, we're a little further from Missouri, but I mean, still, it's Kansas City area.
Yeah.
I feel like they go to St. Louis and just try to get every kid they can out of St. Louis, and Kansas City kind of gets ignored there.
And I hate St. Louis, but they've got some kids that can play.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way they got way more kids.
Yeah,
I mean, you start doing the numbers.
Yeah,
and this is what I was trying to explain to the guys at Football University and U.S. Army All-American. I go, just because you grab kids out of Dallas doesn't mean that Kansas City doesn't have kids. Doesn't mean that Shawnee doesn't have kids. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that the Northland doesn't have kids. We got kids that can compete. We just don't have the numbers that St. Louis, Dallas, Oak City,
work a little
Atlanta,
harder to find those kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we don't have. I mean, percentage-wise, it's got to be close to the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But obviously, if you got you're going to go to Atlanta or Dallas or something where there's way more kids, densely populated. So it's been a struggle. I think we've made a lot of headway.
Mm-hmm.
With doing the combines, the FBS schools can't attend.
Right.
It's against the NCAA regulations. So we've reached out, and we have the Nebraska rivals guy coming. We've put information out to the Iowa State and Iowa guys, trying to get them in.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri's coming in. Jayhawk Slant's coming in. 2 guys from K-State are coming in. We're working on the Razorback rivals guy. Get those guys in because they write all that stuff, and believe it or not, those coaches pay attention to some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to say, oh, well, Richard Elkins was the MVP. How did he get the MVP?
Mm-hmm.
What's his stats? How big is he? What schools does he go to? And they'll start reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's our way of making sure that the Dante Mannings show up, the Kai Thomases, who just committed to Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Another great kid that we just lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm dumbfounded at some of
I
this
know.
stuff.
I mean, you mentioned Jafar, at Notre Dame.
Well, he was signed, sealed, and committed to Mizzou, and then he went to Notre Dame on us. So,
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He had the verbal to Mizzou. It was all said and done, and then the last minute he went on a visit and fell in love with the campus, and you can't blame the guy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
what?
South Bend. Yeah,
there's a little bit of history there.
Yeah,
right. A little bit of history there, and look at him.
Oh yeah, I mean he's tearing it up.
Right. And could he tear it up at Mizzou? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be in the SEC tearing it up too. So don't get me wrong, but I mean they made a run. They made a big run at him, and Mizzou thought he had him.
Yeah.
He was kind of sealed and done, and then took that last minute visit and went to Notre Dame instead.
And I mean, that does happen with 17-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes the girls are a little prettier, a little more history at Notre Dame.
Yeah. And
whatever reason.
Yeah, and a whole other conversation that we can touch on another day is this whole all the offers that the schools are canning out that are not committable offers.
Yeah.
Iowa State gave out some 300 offers last year, but 22 of them were committable.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation that just drives me bananas.
Yeah, I on Twitter all the time, you see kids tweeting out, I got an offer from here, I got an offer from it. And it's like, well, what kind of offer is that? Like you're saying, is that a committable lie? Are they going to stick to that, or are they just, we'll take you to come play here,
right? And the sad thing is when I'm talking to Graham Mertz last year, he's like, "What's it take to get to the U.S. Army All-American game?" And I said, "You got to be the top 10 in the country for quarterbacks, top 6. There's 3 on the East, 3 on the West. You got to be top 6." And for all the wrong reasons, they look at how many offers you have. So what did Graham do last year? Went on a bunch of visits.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
He was committed to Wisconsin the whole time. You talk to him, I'm Wisconsin. But next thing you know, he's at Ohio State. He went down to Miami. He stopped in at Clemson, at Alabama, because he's got 34 offers because all of a sudden he tweeted a couple of times, "Oh, Ohio State just offered me." And then all of a sudden the flood comes in.
Yeah.
Right? And
absolutely.
You get a star because you get so many offers.
That's a little,
They need that. There's some work to be done.
Yeah.
There really is.
Yeah, that sounds kind of like a roundabout way to get, find the best player.
Right.
I mean, especially a kid like Graham. I mean, anybody who knew him or talked to him knew he was going to Wisconsin.
Right.
I mean, even when Les Miles got hired at Kansas, which, was really late in the game for that, I texted, somebody I know that's connected to Graham and said, "Hey, is there any chance that Miles could get him to flip?" Immediately texted back, "No way, no way."
No, yeah.
So
and the Army game of the National All-American game pays a lot of attention to the Elite 11 stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so with both the quarterbacks that's come out of Kansas City, Drew Lock and Graham, they were one of the last ones in because they don't think we have quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right? There's some guy here in town named Justin Hoover that's kind of good with quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
And he's kind of, he's got 2 All-Americans under his belt,
Yep.
Obviously the head coach here at East. And he's just, he's a phenomenal coach and taking care of these guys that who also works with the Elite 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, so it's my job to promote those kids.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
I'm pushing for the kids. So every day at the Elite 11, you watch my Twitter. As soon as Graham's doing something great, I'm sending it to my boss.
Yeah.
Here's my guy.
Yeah.
Here's my guy. And it's almost like I got a force feed to get the Kansas City kids notarized.
Mm-hmm. And then you look at Drew Lock now. He's potential top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Probably at worst top 15.
Right. So after the game, Graham sets a record for 5 touchdowns, and I sent a text message to my boss. I said, "How'd that kid from Kansas do?" He goes, "What kid?"
Yeah.
Right? What kid?
Yeah.
Right?
What kid from Kansas?
Yeah. What kid? So it's they know it, right?
Yeah.
But it's I enjoy trying to get these kids on the national level too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I want it? I want just as many kids to get